For the next 30 minutes, we will explore the unexplained. From mysteries beyond our galaxy to ghostly phenomena in our own backyard. We will dive into our psychic abilities and explore everything from conspiracies to the just plain weird. Welcome to 30 Odd Minutes. If the truth is out there, we will find it. But only by sheer accident.
Hey! Yeah. Welcome to 30 Odd Minutes. It's great to have you aboard the Mothership. We've set her down right in a cloud bank here because we're getting psychic tonight, and it's going to be an intriguing show with, I know, one of your favorite psychics, one of ours too, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Want to, of course, say hello. We got guys in the control center that keep this thing crashing each week. I don't know how we do it week after week, but there they are. Matt and Andrew, how are you guys tonight?
Not too bad, Jeff. How are you doing?
Excellent, Jeff.
I'm doing so good. I'm very excited. Are you guys feeling psychic?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think we're all
I feel
psychic?
I'm going to have a good night.
Oh, nice. Do you think we're all psychic?
To a degree.
Yeah.
All right.
Like a brick wall.
We're going to hit on that. And also, we have to welcome, in our new communications center, how cool is this? Our communications officer herself, Sarah. There she is. How's that? How's the new desk?
It's about time, man. 3 years of finally getting an upgrade. Yes.
Nice.
Just don't
Doing
ask her what
okay.
she's sitting
I
on.
think I need a bigger desk, though.
We'll work on it. Hey, I heard we got email this week.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. But first,
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
nice.
Go.
First, I want to give a shout out to Huntington Public Access TV in West Virginia. Thank you for broadcasting the Mothership's transmission. We appreciate it.
Yes, Huntington, West Virginia.
Love you. And we got an email from Steph Beach, who was talking about our show last week and had an issue, rightly so, with what she took to be some vague message about perhaps we're propagating theft against landlords by, not calling out our guests on saying, hey, if you're having some bad rental situation, you think your home is haunted, maybe the best way to do that is to use the system and basically default on your contract. So, first of all, we wanted to make that clear that no, in no way are we propagating, you to ditch out on your landlord. Obviously, it's a case-by-case scenario, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing, and we're going to cover this in a few shows from now. But when we're talking about stigmatized properties, landlords have certain responsibilities, but of course so do tenants. And we're going to be watching a legal case in New Jersey quite closely coming up. So, what do you guys think, Matt, Andrew? Can you? How do you get out of a haunted rental?
Run.
Okay, good.
No, I've been told that in the state of Rhode Island, if the house has a reputation of being haunted, the renter or real estate agent has to disclose that. And I've also been told that's so in Connecticut as well.
Yeah, interesting. Well, the law will...
My viewpoint don't count?
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. Ouch. Geez, sorry, Matt.
Please spoke for you.
I believe that, number one, that you're right. Sarah's right. If you're in a contract, you have to find a way out of it legally. Doing things surreptitiously is not the way to go. But here's another way that you can also do this. Advertise that it's haunted. You'll find far more people willing to rent it because it is.
Yeah, right.
No, seriously.
That's a good point. That's sometimes it's absolutely a plus. Okay, I did say it was a psychic show, and it's pretty cool. We actually have a field report this week that's kind of a psychic field report. Take a look.
Hi, this is Chris Magger from TSP of Northern Kentucky with a 30-odd minutes field report. We're here at Phenomenology 104 at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And tonight we're taking you on a special field report with a multi-Ouija board session. And tonight, hosting this little event, we have Dave Schrader from Darkness Radio, Jeff Bellinger of 30-odd minutes. What do you know? And Robert Murch, Ouija board expert, and special guest Chris Williams from GHI. And now, as we've seen through the night, things are going really great. Got a lot of good things going on, trying different experiments. But the thing is, with all this going on, no demons are attacking. Nobody's possessed. A really safe and fun experiment going on here. And through this Ouija board experiment, they tried different techniques and different ways of trying to get the boards and bring out the words that we're trying to guess. throughout the night. It didn't really work too well, but everybody really had a great time doing this experiment, and what an amazing night. So again, this was a great experiment done by Dave Schrader, Jeff Bellinger, Robert Murch, and special guests from GHI, Chris Williams, right here at Phenomenology 104. Back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Chris. How cool was that?
Nicely done.
So, yeah, I know. I hate when they upstage us with production. Oh, come on. We're not that good. Here's the thing. We had 30 some odd Ouija boards going at once. Merch got them from Hasbro. Hasbro graciously donated them for this experiment. And somehow the portal to hell did not open up right there in Gettysburg. And we're going to ask our guest about this in a minute. So, without much further ado, do we all have psychic abilities? If so, do they first show themselves in childhood? Tonight's guest says they do. He's an internationally acclaimed psychic medium and paranormal investigator. You know him best from his work on A&E's Paranormal State and Psychic Kids. He's also appeared on Good Morning America, Larry King, The Tyra Banks Show, and tonight he's here to talk about his brand new book, Growing Up Psychic, My Story of Not Just Surviving But Thriving and How Others Like Me Can Too. Beaming to the Mothership live from Atlanta, Georgia, please welcome Chip Coffey. Hey, Chip. How are you?
Jeff.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us on a spaceship. I'm sure this is new for you.
Just don't start any experimentation on me yet.
No promises. All right, listen. We're going to get Freudian. We're going to start right at the beginning. Tell me about your childhood, Chip Coffey. What were you like as a kid?
You know, childhood was pretty much normal for me, other than the fact.
There's going to be an embarrassing
That's a
photo
fairly
about every
feature of
minute.
Me, you know, that's probably a little before the time that my parents began to notice that I could do precognitive things like knowing when the phone was going to ring and who was on the other end of the line. But, you know, I had a pretty average childhood, not much different than any other kid, other than the fact that there was some of the psychic stuff kicked in.
Now, you said in your book that you really didn't pursue the psychic realm until you were in your 40s. But what did you notice as a child that made you think something's different about me compared to other kids?
You know, knowing things, just seemingly knowing things that there was no rational way that I could know. I was a pretty smart kid when I was growing up, did well in school. So when I would kind of sense things or know things that pragmatically I shouldn't be able to know, that was kind of the tell-all for me to say, okay, there's something kind of unique about you that everybody doesn't seem to be doing.
Now, you were bullied as a child, correct? I mean, you got pushed around a bit?
Sure.
And what's that like? I mean, what did you notice that not every kid got it, just you did? I mean, what do you go through?
Well, I didn't get bullied as a kid pretty much because I was psychic, because we kept that. You're talking the late 60s and early 70s when This was pretty much going on. And, you know, I got bullied because of my sexual identity. So I learned about that whole aspect of being different early on, not because of the psychic stuff necessarily, but it's the same thing. You know, bullying is bullying. Being different, being misunderstood, being mistreated, all those things are the same. It's, you know, psychic kids are just a flavor of difference, and they're subjected to a lot of mistreatment and bullying.
And let's talk about this. So you grew up, as you've admitted before, a gay kid. And do you think that being, and that makes you an outsider to your peers, of course. Anything different makes a kid an outsider to the peers.
Right.
Do you think that forced you to be more introspective, kind of look within and develop this, whereas someone who's a popular jock might not have?
I think that probably contributed to it, no doubt.
Okay.
You know, I was definitely, I'm an only child. That's another contributing factor. So I grew up, you know, and you were just relentless. I call that my gangsta Chip picture, by the way.
Yes, it's very threatening.
Little gangsta Chip, yeah, I'll shoot you if you fool with me. So, you know, growing up was kind of lonely at times, but I also was, as you said, a very reflective, introspective kind of kid.
Now, this is interesting to me, not just being different. You handsome devil, you grew up to be a model as well. We have some photos of you in your modeling career. Now, interesting thing, look at that guy. Look, I would buy anything that guy's selling me. Let me just put that out there right now. Whatever it is that's for sale, I'm buying. Huh? What was for sale?
You decide.
Oh gosh, you son of a gun. All right. So, you know, so here's the thing. Being a model, you're forced to portray emotions and feelings, you know, for a specific purpose, for the camera. And
Sure.
so I mean, you're getting very used to tapping into various feelings and emotions that are out there as part of the job, and I'm very curious. And my line of questioning is what builds a psychic medium? You know, and what role do you think modeling played a role?
There have been a lot of people. When you do what I do, you're going to get your share of detractors.
Sure.
And I've had detractors say, "Well, look on IMDb, he's an actor."
Right.
And yeah, I have performed as an actor on stage and TV and films in the past. You know, why does one thing preclude another? Can a psychic not also be an actor? Can you not do two things in life and not have one invalidate the other? You know, I really do think that actors and models and those type of people do get in touch with their feelings and emotions on a great level. And did that help me to really, again, be able to tap into that emotional, intuitive part of myself? Absolutely, I think it did.
Okay, so I mean, creative types in general that are expressing themselves in various ways. Maybe this becomes a form of expression. So, and one thing I do want to say, psychics in general, I'm stereotyping, can be a very needy bunch of people. And I'm saying you, Chip Coffey, I found to be the exception. A lot of psychics tend to surround themselves with people that just go, "You're so talented and amazing," and they just seem to be so needy. I'm not good at providing that. And something I've noticed, Chip, you've taken more than your share of abuse online. I've seen it. It's rough, and you keep your head up. Every time I see you, you got a smile on your face. How do you do it? How do you, I mean, first of all, being a psychic already built in, you've got people that are going to bash you for that because they have something against psychics. And being gay, there's people.
Jeff, I won the trifecta.
Yeah, right.
I'm a gay Catholic psychic.
Yes, my goodness.
So go figure. So yeah, how do I keep my head up? I try as much as possible to ignore the haters. You know, I'm not going to be a pushover and take anything anybody wants to dish at me. But for the most part, I try to surround myself with really positive people whose energy is really good, and not to let the whole crap that people, haters, so-called skeptics, if you will, try to dish out on you. I try not to let that negatively impact my life or how I lead my life.
Right. Well, that's good, and it's a great example, and you really do. Whenever I see you, you've got very much a positive attitude, and it's appreciated. But all right, let's talk about. We know you did several seasons with Paranormal State, and you grew some acclaim. You stepped out in the paranormal community, but Psychic Kids is where I want to focus, because your book, your new book, Growing Up Psychic, really is a companion, it seems to me, to that series, where you get to hear a lot more about some of the kids that were involved, about how the kids are doing today, the families are doing today. And so let's talk about, did you think it would be a controversial decision when you first heard about this show to go ahead and do a show about psychic children?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely, I did. There are people out there that say that these kids are damaged or disturbed or mentally unstable, or that they're just attention-seeking, and, even that they're consorting with the devil. So, I knew from the jump that this was going to be something that was going to be subject to scrutiny and possibly even attack. But these kids needed help.
Okay.
These families were in crisis, and nobody was really stepping up to do anything. So when we began to formulate the idea for the show, I had to push all that aside, Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, psychic children, as we're going to learn here in just a minute, the idea only goes back a few decades where people started to want to label children. And with a special report this week, Sarah, our own communications officer, wanted to tell us a little bit about Indigo children, which I think definitely relates, and we'll get your thoughts on it in a minute. Sarah, tell us about Indigo kids.
I would love to, Jeff. So, Indigo children is a term that's used to describe children who are believed to possess special, unusual, or sometimes supernatural traits and abilities. And it was coined by a parapsychologist back in the 1970s. Her name was Nancy Ann Tapp. And she began to notice that a lot of these children that kind of stood out in these special ways also had indigo blue auras, somewhat similar to a picture that I pulled up earlier for you to demonstrate this.
Hey, that's a Smurf. Wait a minute.
Okay, I kid. But she was noticing kind of a trend with this, and this kind of took off, especially in the 90s. People began to write books on this. and to actually describe these children. And a lot of the characteristics, I'll read them to you, but you'll notice things like empathic, curious, strong-willed, independent, a little like an old world, old soul quality to them. They seem to have like an innate purpose of where they want to go in life, higher intelligence perhaps, and a marked resistance to kind of control-based authoritarian figures. They were not manipulated by guilt or fear in any way that your typical child would be, and so these are kind of like your troublemaker children, because if they didn't feel like a rule made sense, they would defy it. Now, the criticism, of course, is a lot of children could fit all of these characteristics that I just described to you. So part of it is like, okay, what is this really? Is this just like a blanket term? Is this a way to sell books, to sell programs to people who want to believe their children are special or gifted or indigo? And then, of course, in the psychology world, there's some fear that a lot of parents are labeling their ADHD child as an indigo child because it's a more preferred term. Therapists, mental health, in the mental health field are obviously a little bit fearful of this because they're like, okay, you're going to miss a diagnosis for these children if you're saying that, okay, they're just creative, they're just empathic, they're special, and they're going undiagnosed or mistreated or undertreated. So yeah, I don't know what Chip's take is on that, but that's certainly what the debate is out there. Like, how much of this are we just pathologizing children? Or how much are we misunderstanding children? And there's actually more to it than this, and we're just slapping a label like ADHD, autism on children who really do have psychic ability because we don't know how to explain it any other way.
Right. So, Chip, what do you think of that? What do you think about indigo children? Are we talking about the same thing, or is there a line?
I don't know that there's a definitive line. I use the generic term psychic kids because they're star children, indigo children. There's so many terms that can be used to describe children who have some sort of psychic or paranormal ability. And the point that was raised about, the kids that are classified as ADHD, it's totally possible that these ADHD kids can also be psychic. It's totally possible that emotionally disturbed children can be psychic. I think that in certain instances, those lines really do blur. I for a while, worked in the field of traditional counseling and psychology and worked in the adolescent unit of a mental health, a mental hospital. And there were some kids there who were decidedly psychologically disturbed, but some really weird paranormal things also went on with them that were totally unexplainable, Jeff.
Yeah, fascinating stuff.
So it's hard to differentiate between those two, and like I said, sometimes the lines do get blurry.
Right, and labels, of course, are tricky things, especially with children. Kids don't want to stand out. They don't want to be unique. They want to blend. Adults, we want to be unique, or at least we say we do. But yeah, kids want to blend in, and that's what's so important. And what's so tricky about any label, including ADHD and autism and things like that. Chip, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick break for the news, and then we're going to keep talking about psychic kids and psychic children.
In Cairo, Egypt, an 18-year-old girl claims to have had an encounter with a tribe of 1,000 Jinn. Jinn is the Arabic term for ghost or spirit, and those in the Middle East who believe in their existence feel that Jinn have evil intentions towards the living. The teenager's frightening encounter is said to have caused her to bleed from her eyes. The girl appeared on Egyptian television with a Muslim scholar who read from the Quran as the young woman fell unconscious. When she awoke 20 minutes later, the girl could remember nothing of the event, but complained of a bad headache. The Muslim scholar said that he was certain that the jinn's influence on the girl was merely external and not internal, which would have placed her under the evil spirit's total control. So, tears of blood, nothing to be concerned with. In other news, politicians in India have posted a reward of 100,000 rupees for the body of a vampire that is suspected of killing cattle near the town of Dharampuri in Tamil Nadu. Farmers in the area believe that their livestock are being fed upon at night by a vampire. However, members of the local government are certain that smugglers are responsible for the deaths of the cattle. Officials believe gangs that travel by night are using superstition to spread fear throughout the community in order to make people stay inside their homes. Authorities hope that the offered reward will help people see the true reality of the animal deaths and understand that vampires are not real. I don't know. I'm from Rhode Island, and we've got at least 5 dispatched vampires buried there. Back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you with the news. Vampires all over the world. And we're back with Psychic Kids, Chip Coffey, Growing Up Psychic, his new book. So, Chip, talk to us about some of these kids today that you worked with on the show. Are children mature enough to understand the kind of messages they might be receiving? How do you help them cope with that?
It depends on the age. We've worked with some very young kids that are like 8, 9, and 10, and of course their brains are still forming and they're learning social skills and coping mechanisms and trying to make their way through life as just normal growing up kids. I think as kids reach adolescence and then get into their teen years, they become more able to, separate a lot of the imagination qualities of their experiences out of what is actual and factual. So it all depends on the age that the kid is when you're talking about this sort of stuff.
Right. Okay. Now, you have an entire chapter devoted to this, but what's your advice for parents who believe their children may be gifted? What's the next step? And again, it's a whole chapter. I know you can't sum it up.
It is. I mean, trying to get that into a few words. What I always tell parents is this, Jeff. I always say, parenting a psychic kid is 90% the same as parenting any other kid. You love your kid, you support your kid, you believe your kid, you don't overly indulge your kid, but you are just a good parent and treat your child with love and respect. The psychic stuff, you deal with it as it comes up. And I urge parents not to become psychic stage parents so that the kids are, they're forcing their kids into doing readings or whatever. Let your kids, organically develop and their abilities organically develop just as they will.
Right. And so do you think that, can a kid tell the difference between, say, their imagination and what might be coming through intuition and psychically?
Not always. And therein lies, especially with the younger children, that parents ask me, how do you know that the child is having a valid experience? And in reality, the way you know that is, can the information that they're providing be validated? Can you corroborate that information? If they're telling you that they're seeing such and such a figure in the house, an old woman who's dressed like this, and she says her name is Mary, and you go to your historical records and you find that at some point in time in your house, an old woman lived in that house and owned the home, and her name happened to be Mary, then that's pretty convincing evidence that maybe the experience your child is having is valid.
Right. And how do parents and children deal with the fear that must come from, oh my gosh, I'm talking to dead people, I'm seeing the future or gleaning the future. I mean, how do you deal with that fear?
The interesting thing about it is that's what I really wanted to do in my book, Jeff. I wanted to try to normalize the experience as much as possible.
Okay.
And let people know that this is not an uncommon thing. Right in the beginning of the book, I say, kids are coming out of the psychic closet in droves and are admitting that potentially they're having experiences. So, I think they're unwilling anymore to say, I'm going to label myself or allow anyone else to label myself as damaged or weird. And so I think that's a very good thing.
Right. Gotcha. Ooh. That sound means it's time for our lightning round. And Chip Coffey, what that means is I'm going to fire a bunch of questions at you. And you've seen this before in our Gettysburg Live episode a few weeks ago, except you get all the questions tonight.
I'm a little scared right now.
You should be. No, this is good. Shortest answers possible. 1, 2, 3 words tops. We're going to get through the lightning round, see how you go. Number 1, your favorite color?
Red.
Okay. Weirdest image to ever come through in a psychic reading?
A man farting.
Oh, that's good. First band you ever saw live in concert?
The Monkees.
Nice. Rest in peace, Davy Jones. Least favorite song?
I would have to say Barking Dog's Christmas.
First car you owned?
An AMC Hornet.
Nice. All right. Strangest place you ever found your TV remote?
Embedded in one of your body parts.
Oh, my goodness gracious. We had to go there. Name a famous spirit you're dying to communicate with.
Marilyn Monroe.
All right. Least favorite Star Wars movie?
Anything that came after the first round.
Okay. And finally, cappuccino or espresso?
Either. I'm not a big coffee drinker, and my last name is Coffey, and I don't drink the stuff.
Ironic. Chip, you survived the lightning round. Well done, sir. We applaud you. We applaud you. All right, so we know you're doing tours all over the United States, all over Canada. You're meeting with lots of people. What's it like when you get a psychic impression, especially in a room full of people? How do you know that there's a spirit that's looking for someone in particular? What's that feel like?
I ask my spirit guides, especially in my coffee talk events that I'm doing all around the country, as you said. My spirit guides guide me to the person that they want me to read for at that particular time. And the person will then tell me who it is that they want me to communicate with. All I ask is the first name, the relationship someone has with the person they want me to communicate with, and how long it's been since they passed. And then I sort of call that energy up to me and really can give people some pretty significant information about that loved one that's passed. It feels kind of like, it really doesn't feel that different than chatting with someone on a third dimension realm.
Okay, so you see the person standing in front of you, but...
No, not typically. I don't. I just feel their energy and intuitively know things about them. I have seen full-blown apparitions, but that's not typical for me.
Now, something else interesting about you is that you embrace the technology, the ghost gadgets we see on all these shows. I know you've used the EMF meters, things like that. Do you use them is that a regular thing for you to incorporate the technology with your psychic ability?
You know, I don't always do it, but I'm certainly open to that. You know, you've been on events with me in various locations around where we've actually, first and foremost, I'll try to intuitively tune in on something, but I love using the bells and whistles and gadgets. I think that those are fun ways to corroborate what I'm picking up intuitively.
Excellent. All right, Chip, I know we only have a couple minutes left. We've got about 6 billion questions for you jumping through the chat room, but Sarah's got to get someone happy. So, Sarah, what's going on?
Oh my gosh, how do I even choose? There's going to be like a million people mad at me. The funniest one I have to say is someone asked, gosh, why do so many guys love Marilyn Monroe? So one was like, why don't you ask Chip to ask Marilyn Monroe why men love her so much?
That's a great question. Can we summon her? Is there any way that you could reach out to Marilyn?
You know, the immediate thing that I heard in my head, and it's a little egotistical and narcissistic, was, and it sounded kind of in her voice was, well, what's not to love?
It's kind of true. I mean,
nice.
The chick was hot. There's no doubt. All right,
I'm a gay man, and I think so too.
Yes, no, understood. Okay, Matt Moniz, our own Matt's got something for you. Hold on, Chip.
Hey, Chip. My question to you is, ever have during a psychic reading an impression or something that is, troubling to you that you chose not to impart to the person you were having the reading for?
Good question.
That's a great question.
You know, Matt, I'll tell you, I'm very grateful that I have never had that situation happen to me. I've had not great news that I've had to tell people that, I didn't think that their relationship was going to last, or that someone may not be going to get well, or news like that. I'm very grateful for my training in the traditional field of psychology, that it's helped me to be able to find the right words and not deliver those messages so that they're wounding to the people.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I was curious about that as well, at what point you withhold. Chip, I do want to embarrass you one more moment. Eric, if we could bring up image 8. I think this one really is a great image to go out on. My goodness gracious. In 20 seconds, can you tell us when that was taken?
That photograph was taken in 1979 in Sarasota, Florida, during a production of The Music Man, and to call me a dancer is a real stretch of anybody's imagination, but I was hoofing it in that picture.
You were working it. I can't believe anyone ever thought you were straight. Let me just throw that out there. It's something.
Yeah, well, but a lot of good-looking women do share hotel rooms with me, so this gay act I'm pulling is working out for me.
Right on.
You should try it, Jeff.
Oh, God, there you go again. All right, Chip, we are out of time. The name of the book is Growing Up Psychic. Congratulations to you. Thank you for joining us here on the Mothership. From all of us to all of you, until next time, stay odd, everybody. Yeah, Chip Coffey.